All right, hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Clinical Marketer. Today, we've got Tony Maritato, owner of Total Therapy Solutions, and he's honestly like a huge thought leader just in the space, putting so much content out there, pretty much answering every frequently asked question PTs have about running and operating their business. But today, we're focusing on his success that he's had with his YouTube channel. He's grown over 1,500, almost 1,500 subscribers just within the last couple months, and even with all of the COVID-19 craziness that's going on right now, within the last 3 months, he's had over 10,000 views on his content that he puts out there, which is insane that he's able to get that much awareness out there, even with all the crazy stuff that's going on today. So today we're talking to Tony about YouTube, just the impact it's had with generating new patients on his practice, getting his name out there, and how practice owners like you and all of our listeners can get started on YouTube to make it a viable solution for your clinic. So Tony, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and if people don't know this, but I've actually, Tony and I go way back. And when I first started the software company that I used to own years ago when I was still in college, Tony was one of the only people that kind of supported and mentored me when I was surrounded with other people telling me that I could never build, a medical software company. Tony was one of the people that, stuck his neck out, played with the software, gave me advice on how to improve it. And I think that just speaks volumes about your character. So thank you on that front too, Tony.
Absolutely. And it kind of comes into this discussion today, because I can remember you and I talking for one of the first times, and you telling me that you were going to release this home exercise program app and telling me what it did. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, does this guy, like, he's so young and so energetic and so ambitious, does he want to put all of this time, energy, and effort into this project when there's so much competition? Like, that was right around when all these other apps were coming out. Oh, yeah. And Dave Kittle and Holland and so many other people had stuff. And I'm like, oh man, but fast forward now, and it's the same situation with YouTube, right? So like, there's no limit to the number of YouTube channels. YouTube, from what I understand, is uploading like 400 hours of video content every minute, I think. I mean, just crazy numbers. And so, I appreciate the accolades talking about me, but of course mine is just, my channel's a speck on a flea on a dog somewhere, compared to some of the big channels out there. But I think that even with that competition, and even the people that have been on the platform, like Bob and Brad, and those guys have been around, I think they're over 1 million subscribers. They've been around over 10 years. It's like, the question I always get asked is it worth it? Is it worth the time and effort to start a YouTube channel now? And I think now more than ever. I wish I could come on and claim, well, I had this vision and I knew in March of 2020, everybody was going to be locked in a house and everybody was going to be consuming video content and we're going to be ready for it. I didn't, but it's just one of those things where, I always look for that hidden value. Like, where can we tease out a little bit of value? Where are we missing the boat? And so YouTube compared to Instagram, compared to Facebook, it's a different platform. I'm sure your watchers know it's the second largest search engine in the world. I just read a stat today, after Google, I think it was like Google has 15 times more searches on topics than YouTube, but then YouTube, and then it's Amazon, the Amazon search engine. So how do I position myself if I can't get to the top on Google? Maybe there's a back door, and that's where YouTube came in. And so I was making YouTube videos back in mid 2000s. Everybody nobody gets to see that stuff, but I understood I'm not going to be number one on Google unless I find other avenues to get there. And that was an avenue.
I love that. I think, first off, Tony, before we get in, because I want to dive into details, for people who are listening who might not know you, I think a lot of our listeners will know you, but the cool thing about a podcast or a YouTube channel is like the long tail. Who knows, someone 8 months from now has never heard of us will be hearing this. Do you mind just giving us a little bit of background, your profession,
Yeah.
You own a practice, just a little bit of details in case someone were to catch this 3 months from now and is like, hey, this is my first time listening to this podcast. I don't know Tony. Who you are, so people have some context.
So Tony Maritato, my real name is Anthony, but everybody calls me Tony. I am a physical therapist. I've been officially licensed as a physical therapist since 2006. I've been a physical therapy practice owner since 2002. Before that, we were all cash-based personal training. My bachelor's degree is in kinesiology. My master's is in physical therapy. But we started Total Therapy Solutions, which is an outpatient private practice, primarily ortho-based PT clinic in 2002. We had 3 locations operating in Florida. We had 2 locations in Ohio at our largest. We were 5 locations across 2 states. Then we consolidated because we realized that our goal wasn't growth anymore in that direction. And so currently today, I own and operate 2 clinics in Ohio, and I spend about 15% of my time in patient care because I love patient care. I'm a clinician at heart. You know, I got into it because I enjoy treating patients, but I don't treat patients to pay my income and pay my salary and support my family. I build a business to support my family and provide security for me. And that's where, whether the business is my physical clinic, whether the business is YouTube, whether the business is Amazon Associates, websites, whatever the business is there to support the lifestyle that I want to provide. So that's Tony in a nutshell. Yeah,
I absolutely love it. I've learned so much from you, Tony, about business mindset versus employee mindset. And whichever one you choose is fine. But if you do want to go into business, to listen to someone like Tony, who your brain is just always going. I love it. Every time I tune in, I'm like, whoa, Tony's on to a new, he's got a new project, and it's amazing. And I think what really, what I've loved watching Tony so much is, you know, you've been at this for a while. You're not 22 years old, and, you know, you weren't born with technology just built into your hands like so many younger kids now are. And I see so many people just shy away from it and run away from it, and like, it's only a young man's game, or like a young person's game. And even me at 33, it's like sometimes like, whoa, what, like TikTok right now. I'm like, oh, I don't know what that is, right? Like but I love that you're always willing to embrace whatever's coming, and you adapt. And I think that's the highest compliment of an entrepreneur. You just keep adapting and you keep adapting. Was there any hesitancy to do any of this? I guess because I see so many practice owners right now who are like, YouTube, another thing that I have to do, that like, you know, there's going to be a learning curve. Was there a point where can you just walk us through the process of like you deciding, hey, I'm actually going to do this, and it might not even yield massive results for me in the beginning?
Yeah. You know, I'm a big believer in you have to play to your strengths. Like, you have to identify your weaknesses, manage them, but I don't spend too much time trying to improve them. I focus on my strengths. And so, you know, one of the things you just mentioned was like looking at business leaders as mentors. I think it's so important, you know, to see the background and the context, right? Because I always want to be as transparent as possible to tell people that, look, I'm not going to take somebody from 0 to 10 million in revenue. That's not me. I don't want to be there. That's not what I do. I'm not passionate about that. But if you want somebody who comes to you and says, look, I love the creative process. Like, I'm an artist at heart. Business is my canvas, right? The tools, YouTube and the practice and all that stuff are my paints. And so if you love what you do from a creative perspective, like, we'll resonate, we'll click instantly. And I think that's why you and I get along so well. And Jordan, I think entrepreneurs are artists. We're creating something that didn't exist before, and we're creating something that exists beyond us. If I was just creating a job for myself, I'd be treating every patient and stuck in the clinic. That's not me. That's a self-employed, which has its role. I want to be on that entrepreneurial side. And so when I look across platforms, answering your question, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, like, I would love to be more active on Instagram. It just doesn't resonate with me. I don't click with the platform. And so YouTube, I've always done video. I've always done photography. You know, I've got a collection of cameras through the years. And so it's one of those things. And context, my wife loves photography. Before we ever met, she traveled through Europe. She had a 35 millimeter camera. She took amazing photos. So it's like, the people you surround yourself, you know this better than anyone, absolutely influence where your life goes. You could actively pick those people, or you could passively allow them to infiltrate your circle. But, you know, so it was just natural. Like, my wife is a creator. I'm a creator. We love the creative process. We love the problem solving process. And then when I look at, I wish I could say it was a logical decision to say, yeah, I'm going to jump on YouTube, because YouTube is the only platform that will put money in my pocket today by running ads in front of my videos. It wasn't. It was just, what led me there? Did it resonate? Did it stick? Like, I'm making videos every single day right now, not because I'm forcing it, but because it happens naturally. And it's the same in the clinic. When I get a patient and I'm trying to come up with a home exercise program for that patient for a specific condition, I'm not going to force a program that I think is best, because it might not be something they want to do. I'm trying to tease out, okay, what do you do naturally? Like, do you spend time in the garden? Do you spend time at the park? Do you fold laundry? Like, what do you enjoy doing? And then let's build a program into what you're already doing, you know, instead of trying to take somebody who's never been in a gym and make them buy a gym membership. So YouTube just kind of brought me in, and it was a natural flow.
I think that's so good to share. Just instead of, because so many people try to put their attention into so many different channels, they're almost overwhelmed by the opportunities, so they just do a little bit on everything, which of course leads to no results on any of the channels. So
right.
You kind of already spoke to the fact that you chose YouTube because it's the second biggest search engine there is. But were you passionate about creating videos? Was it easy for you to just start filming yourself on video?
Okay, so 2 questions. Was I passionate about video? Yes. Like, I love video. I love the medium. I love researching and studying. Like, on my way into work, on my way home from work, I'm listening to podcasts about color theory and composition. And, you know, I'm looking at like somebody else's video and where did they do a jump cut and how did they pan across, like all of that. I'm obsessive about that, and I enjoy it. The second question, was it easy for me to get in front of a camera? Heck no. Like, there is no way. And I've tried so many different ways to do it over the years. And again, this is what people don't see. They see this right now. They see me looking into the lens, but they don't see the 10 years of like the spit in the corner of my mouth because I was so nervous, and the you know, the weird looks in the camera and all that stuff, the tension in your face. And so I've got, and it's interesting, occasionally I'll put it out there. I've got videos on YouTube from 2002 that are just horrible. And actually, before you even jumped on, I shared a video, I think on my profile. It was a link to a channel. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was a 13-year-old reviewing a Dell laptop. And now today he's got over 10,000 subscribers. And he still has those original videos. He's interviewed Kobe Bryant. He's interviewed the biggest names in the world. I mean, the guy has just come from nowhere, and it's amazing what he's done. And you see where he started. You know, now he's had 10 years on the platform, but still, like, it's never easy. I've never met a single human being that said, oh yeah, I walked out, I looked at the camera, and I just started talking like it was another person. That doesn't exist. You have to put the time in. You have to put the reps in. You've got a kettlebell on the shelf behind you. You could teach me how to lift the kettlebell all you want, but until I lift the kettlebell, I'm never going to get better.
I love that. Tony, you've got an incredible Facebook group called eCourse Live, PT Funnels, and YouTube Success Support Group for anyone who wants to pick this up, and we'll give a shout out again at the end and put a link in.
Sure.
It's insane the amount of content that goes in there and the help that you provide for people. If this is just a personal thing, I just want to say thank you for all the help that you do for people. You put out so much incredible information. I would love, because I think there are going to be a lot of clinicians who are listening to this who are probably either solopreneurs, just starting out, maybe even an established practice. And where would you guide them to starting out their own channel? Do you recommend, let's just, maybe the best thing to do is have an example or a hypothetical situation, a practice like yours, an outpatient orthopedic practice, and they want to draw more business to them. What's the best way, or what are some strategies or tips you have for starting their own YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I'm going to steal from you, Will Boyd. You know, you have to start where the demand is, right? I think too many of us are stuck in our own head and we're like, oh, this is such amazing information. I've got to get out there and people better like it. And they don't. Like, YouTube is such an amazing platform for teaching us humility and teaching us what other people care about. You know, I'll put out a video and be like, oh, this is such important information. And it'll be crickets because nobody will want to watch it. And then I'll see like a 10% watch time, you know? So where I would tell people to start today, and this is literally what I do still in the clinic. So you've got a patient, you've got a situation, your aunt, your uncle, somebody calls you on the phone. They're like, hey, my toe is killing me. What do I do about it? Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to go record some videos real quick, and then I'll put them on YouTube and I'll share them with you. That's your start, because that was a real person who had a real problem, and you produced a real solution for that problem. You pull a screenshot from the video if you don't want to do it separately. You make your thumbnail on Canva or any of the free apps that are out there. You upload your video to your Fresh channel. You send the link to that person, and then you send it out to us, to your peers. Now, we're not going to be your main audience, but I guarantee if you're looking for quick and easy views, send me that video, and 2 things are going to happen. One is I'm going to look at it, and in my head, I'm going to criticize it because it's not what I would do, and I'm going to make fun of you in my head for it. But that's going to keep me watching, which is going to increase your watch time. The other part is I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, how did I not realize that you could do that? That is such an awesome idea. I need to start doing that with my patients. You know, and again, there's no in between. It's going to be one or the other, but both of them are going to watch your video. And so much of where I started, when I started a Facebook group for my total knee replacement, I had a bunch of clinicians in there because I know we like to, oh, hang on a sec, guys.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry, got a phone call coming in. I know we like to geek out on that stuff. And even if not a single patient came in, we would talk and we'd get the conversation going, you know? So start with your existing network, but literally I'd go home, I'd record it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'd expect it to be bad. And that's where I tell people, I'm like, nobody wants polish anymore. Nobody wants fine editing, and it has to be audible. And even when you get into that, like sound is the hardest thing. Right now, I'm in a clinic, I'm on an iPhone, I don't have a mic, I don't have any of my normal setup, but you guys are listening because you want this information. You will be more tolerant to crummy sound and crummy video because of the content. Now, if this was purely entertainment, you'd probably click off in the first 30 seconds, you know? But that's where I would start. I'd start with real problems, create real solutions, record yourself doing what you do every single day, and people will respond.
That's great. I want to get into a little bit of the tactics of like, because you said in the beginning that you've been doing this since early 2000s. Yeah. And I know people probably don't have to put in their 10 years to get the, to get some results on YouTube. Yeah, I want to dig into like the differences and how you would suggest people grow now. But I also want to like future pace some of the listeners right now and give them an expectation of what they can actually expect to get out of YouTube. So you've been doing this for a while. How has it impacted, your brand?
So what's interesting is, YouTube, like everything else for me, I kind of go through these cycles where, like, a couple months ago, I connected with Andrew Tran and I was doing t-shirts. Now, remember, I come from a graphic design background. Like in 2000 and 2001, I had a graphic design business. I don't even remember the name, but I showed it because I looked up all my old businesses. And so in 2000, I was doing graphic design. And then in 2019, I came back to it with t-shirts, right? And multiple iterations of that. And so for somebody today, I think what's interesting about the YouTube platform, since that's what we're talking about, is I've had people reaching out to me. Now, you do it on Instagram. I don't, because I don't do Instagram. But I had a lady from Georgia reach out to me, and she found me through YouTube, which took her to my Facebook group, which took her to my clarity.fm account, which allowed her to buy a 15-minute initial consultation just over the phone. So not video, just phone, right? But Clarity established me as an expert in total knee replacement. And she found me because she was searching YouTube. I've had multiple people find me for different things. Somebody was in France the other day and we did a telehealth session talking about some complexities she had around her knee replacement. It's a platform that allows people to see you, hear you, connect with you, and start to build that trust and rapport. So immediately, that was something that obviously, like right now with lockdown, puts money in my bank account. Then, of course, the product review segments that I do and pretty much everything we do in the clinic, there's some product. Like literally before we jumped on with you guys, I just did a review on a little pulse ox. I'm going to post that when we finish. I did a review the other day on goniometers and how you can measure joint range of motion at home by yourself. There's no limit to the stuff around us. And so product reviews, we've got affiliate commissions that come in, whether it's from the company directly or through Amazon or however it's worked out. I received, you might remember this, a $650 lumbar traction unit from Comfort Track because I had done a product review on their cervical traction unit. And so now they wanted me to do that, right? Wow. None of that would exist without those videos on YouTube. And I'm a tiny channel. Like, I can't even believe that people are even watching it. And then on the flip side, from my clinic channel to my Medicare billing channel, so I've had a handful of people, I want to say, and don't quote me on this, over the last, what is this now, 12, 13, 14, 15 months, we've had 123 members go through my Medicare billing course. A handful of those are not on Facebook at all. They found me on YouTube. YouTube took them to my website. They bought the course and they connected with me there, you know? So, I mean, if that's 5 people at $500 a pop, that's $2,500 that just went in my pocket. And earlier today, I was talking to Dean Volk, and Dean was saying that he keeps getting caught up because he's getting busier with telehealth. And I said, Dean, that's awesome, but you got to remember, so telehealth puts $150 in your pocket now for an hour of your time. You put out a video that gets monetized or gets sponsored or something else, that's an asset that'll put money in your pocket for 10 years. Yeah. You know, so even though it's a smaller return immediately, it's a longer return over time. So
I think what's really cool, so you bring up Dean, and this just sparked my a memory. Was I was actually helping another clinic in the town that Dean lives in South Carolina. We won't go into too much in depth. Yeah. And I remember doing research. I typed in sciatica, his town name, and sure enough, Dean didn't pop up because of his website. Didn't pop up. The first two were, I think the first one was an ad, and then there were 2 links. And then the very third thing was a YouTube preview snippet. And sure enough, guess who popped up as the first 2 videos for that? Was Dean Volk. And you could just tell it was so interesting to watch because we talked about YouTube being second biggest search engine. It's also owned by Google. So they integrate with each other as part of the search directory. It was really fascinating to see that. I was like, wait, so he's not ranking because of his website. He's actually popping up though because he's ranking on Google for his local town. It blew my mind. I was like, whoa, wait, maybe one way to get onto the front page of Google isn't to try to compete with Google itself, but to go through YouTube. So that was another thing that just, while it was on my mind. I did want to ask this to you, Tony, because I just don't think I think maybe sometimes for newer practice owners, there's not really a lot of perspective on how many opportunities are in front of them. How many, like, did you even imagine 20 years ago that you would have the ability to do, like, there is literally, you don't have to have a video recorder. You don't have to have tapes. You don't have to submit them to a news station. Like, I guess for perspective's sake, because I think it gets lost on us. Maybe guys like Jordan and I too, who are maybe half a generation younger, where it became so normal when we were in school. But to think about what video took to upload, to host even 15 years ago, like, do you mind just sharing on how hard it was even 15 years ago to make something like this happen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I just found some old family videos. Well, here's a classic example. So my wife was a very successful basketball player through high school, played basketball through college and PT school. And so we were looking at some of her old video VHS tapes that they're in the process of converting over. and uploading to YouTube. You know, when I was in my first clinic, 2001, 2002, I spent about $3,600 for a little Sony camcorder that had a little, maybe it was a digital 8 or something like that, tape, a cassette tape that would go in there. And then I have to connect it into the computer through a FireWire. And I had Final Cut Pro 3, which I don't know what they're on now, probably 14 or 15. And you know, we're talking literally about $10,000 between the camcorder, the hardware, the software, the computer, and even that. Like, I can remember I made a 10-minute video that was actually, it was a review of my father-in-law's life, and it kind of went decade by decade, and we pulled all these photos and we narrated. It was just an incredible gift that we made for him, and it was 10 minutes long, and it wasn't even like 1080p or anything. I mean, it was whatever high resolution was at the time, and I hit render to save it, and it said 24 hours. It was going to take 24 hours for a 10-minute video to finish rendering so that I could use it anywhere, you know? And this was 2001, 2002. I mean, now the quality is phenomenal. I use an iPhone 8 Plus. A year ago, I was an iPhone 6, you know, but today the videos I'm recording, iPhone 8 Plus, accounts for about half my videos. Now, I do have a nice Canon 80D. 80D is it's an older generation camera, but it does video really well, and the autofocus is really, you know, phenomenal. Simple lens, I mean, but I can crank out a video today between recording, editing, finishing, thumbnail, description, tags, all of that stuff. I'm probably about 2 hours invested for something pretty decent, you know, but I can't put out something that good every single day. So that's where this literally, it was a 5-minute video on a product review. I uploaded it straight out of my phone. I created the screenshot thumbnail on Canva, and we're done. You know, so you can't get bogged down in the details. As clinicians, we want everything to be perfect. We want everything to be black and white, yes and no. And you just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'd say 30% of the videos I upload, I'm like, oh, I've got a pit in my stomach because I feel like I'm going to puke because people are going to think this is horrible. And about 1% of the videos, I'm like, ooh, that was really good. I'm proud of that, you know? So you just got to get it out there.
Well, I want to just say first off, because, and Jordan, I want to toss it over for you for a question. I want to say thank you, because I think that, you know, we always find excuses. Like, I don't have time, I don't have the resources, or it just seems like so much work. And to hear that, though, to think like, it used to take 24 hours to upload a 10-minute video. You can do an entire workshop. You can record your own workshop that you're doing in person already on your phone, have it up in 30 minutes, like, up on YouTube is insane.
Oh no, looks like Tony dropped.
Probably had a phone call.
Yeah, he might have, he had some internet issues a little bit ago, but that was actually a pretty good place to close it out. Let's see if he jumps back in here. You still there, Will?
Yep.
Okay. I love Tony, man. He didn't prepare for this, but it just seems like he's so prepared. Like, all of his answers are so just spot on. Oh, here he is. Ah, there he is.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh,
no worries. That was actually like perfect timing. It's right at the tail end of the response.
Okay, I told her not to call me. I've got 10 more minutes.
Okay. Yeah. No. Time for one last question, and we could do a whole episode on this. But I just want to say, based on like all of your experience with creating content, what are some guidelines or some advice that you would give to practices who are just want to get started? What are some mistakes that you made early on that you want to help them get over? That'll help them get started.
It's probably trite by now, but I mean, the number one mistake is not publishing. Not hitting the publish button, you know? And so there's no end to the amount of research you can put in. It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to be happy with it. You just get comfortable with that understanding. And you say, look, I mean, what am I really doing here? If I'm putting out something to help somebody, who cares if somebody judged me? Who cares if somebody, I swear, like, I like to think that I'm a nice guy. I like to think that I'm generous and giving and supportive and all that stuff. I've never seen a video that I don't criticize. Like, that's just in our human nature. That doesn't mean that it's bad. I don't like it. It's got 1 million views. I'm still going to find problems wrong with it. So you just say, look, what am I really doing here? I'm doing this to help somebody. Start with the one, the other 900,000 will come, right? And so you got to hit that publish button. 2, you got to solve real problems. You got to find what people really need. My ego, my ego gets in the way every single day. You know, so last night I'm teaching my Medicare billing course, and I'm showing my students, I'm like, look, 97140 is manual therapy. 97124 is massage therapy. Medicare pays more for massage therapy than it does for manual therapy. Manual therapy gets denied more than massage therapy for various modifiers and stuff. I'm like, I know this better than anyone. My ego gets in the way when I hear the word that I'm doing massage and not manual, right? And my ego has probably cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars over many, many years. But we just need to put that ego in check. We need to get the work done. We need to think about why we're doing it. We're doing it to help that person. We can't help them if we don't get it done. So those are the 2 things that I just tell everybody. And then once you start, you know, you'll know if it's for you. Like, I've been on and off Instagram a handful of times. Every time I get on there, I lose my momentum. It's not for me. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to put extra energy. Why does Mark Zuckerberg wear the same thing every day? Because he doesn't want to waste time and energy thinking about something that's not helping him get to his goal. You focus on that goal. And I think as clinicians, we're amazing at coming up with goals for our clients. We are horrible at understanding the goals that we want for ourselves.
I love that. I love it. Tony, real quick, last question I have really quick is, when you, for your own brick and mortar practice, do you use a local strategy with your YouTube? As in, like, are you putting in your local town name details into tags, into the description, or do you keep it more broad and just sort of go for a more generic audience?
That's a great question, and that's why context is so important. The reality is, I don't do local because I don't want local. I truly don't need or want more local referrals. Okay. I've got my clinical staff. I've got my admin staff. They're busy enough. They don't need to be more busy. I don't want them to be more busy. I don't want to go and hire another clinician. So as far as that goes, it's done. Absolutely, it could be leveraged. And so when I teach my marketing component of the Medicare course, I tell them, look, go out, piggyback on the name and recognition of all the local surgeons. Find local surgeons, interview them on your YouTube channel, turn it into your podcast. And then when somebody Googles, is Dr. Davis a good surgeon? Dr. Davis is going to come up next to Anthony Maritato because our names are connected through Google now. Nobody's searching for you as a physical therapist, but they're searching for the surgeon who's going to cut their knee open, right? And so you piggyback on them. And if you can't get them on an interview because they don't want to spend the time, then you just do a review or you talk about them. You say, hey, look, I've had all these patients come through talking about Dr. Davis. These are the things that I've heard. This is where their office is, you know. However you do it, you figure out a way to make those connections and use that network effect. So we don't do it. Somebody who wants more patients absolutely should do it. And Will, to your point, what kind of made me flip the switch back on YouTube a couple years ago was one of my videos. It was a sleep positioning video, 3-minute video. I think right now it's just over or close to 100,000 views. It was showing up in organic search for Google. I could never show up for knee replacements against WebMD and Mayo Clinic and the big leaders, but my sleep video came up, you know, and so that was driving traffic to me. And the same with my Medicare billing. When you do a search for Medicare billing or insurance billing for physical therapy, my YouTube channel shows up not my website. And there's so much paid competition in front of me that my website is like 36 pages away, but my YouTube channel shows up on page 1, you know? So that's what jumps me to the front of the line. And that's where I said, it might not be ad revenue that you're making from day 1, but you have to understand big picture, long tail, like you said, like that's where the value comes in.
Yeah. Awesome. That was solid gold. Thank you, Tony.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some serious veteran level advice there. Tony, thank you so much for being here. Basically, what I pulled out of this was find whatever platform you can be passionate and consistent with and go all in on it. Don't dilute your focus across all these other channels that you just can't enjoy doing. Start where the demand is. I think that's so good because so many of us, like you said, like kind of have their ego in front of it and say like, this is what's valuable. But you got to find out what people are already looking for, make content around that. And then lastly, just get started. Don't make it perfect and just be consistent.
Absolutely. You got it.
Tony, thank you so much for being here. If people want to go and see all of your content, can you go over your couple of Facebook groups where they can come and follow you?
Yeah, probably the easiest way to find me is just Anthony Maritato on Facebook. There's not too many of us out there, so I should pop up pretty quick. You know, I'm doing my best. I put out content in a Medicare billing for mostly cash-based physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech group. I've got the eCourse Live group for more kind of the digital content. And I've got a concierge telehealth group where we're just helping providers, you know, get out there and in front of all this. Like Rob Vining was a huge, huge part of that. But those are probably my 3 main groups that you'd be looking for. So just reach out, message me. I'm always available. If I can't get back to you, message me again because I want to talk to you. It just got lost in the feed.
Excellent. Thanks, Tony.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for having me.